So what's good, YouTube family? This your guy, DJ Bless One, the best one. So Benkert, I know the name is already weird as it gets. Another one of these stitches who resides in this world where they want to cater to black folks and pretend they're hip and cool. Even how he addresses himself. Hey, what's up, gang? Don't we say that over here? But I don't want to get into people who are cosplaying to get their views up. You know, these mayos who, not all mayos, but certain mayos who go out their way to pretend they're down with the culture. But in reality, they have their biasness that they can't hide. This guy disrespect Shedeur up and down. We're gonna play the video and get deep into this, bro, because I'm telling you, they wake up and they just flat out, for all reasons we know what it is, they call out to, like, why not big up your man without disrespecting the other man? They can't do it. So let's break this down and go on with another episode of I Smoke Hip Hop Live.
I've been broke so many times, I don't know what to believe. Mama say it's my fault, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Niggas bless up on my...
So I definitely wanted to get into the coverage of this guy right here, this complete buffoon, whatever you want to call himself. I don't know him to, you know, just talk bad about him. But I know enough of people like him, why I don't respect him, why I don't like this individual at all, because he doesn't even break down a real point in why he favors Jaxson over Shedeur. So we're going to let him speak.
All right, gang. We've got to talk about Shedeur Sanders and Jaxson Dart. Now, look, there's a lot of mock drafts, a lot of tomfoolery going around saying they're going to go early, late, here, there, whatever. I'm going to tell you, I don't know where they're going to go. But
we know where they're going to go. And the fact that Jaxson Dart is even being talked about as a first, forget about the first 6 picks. For Jaxson Dart to even be talked about as a first rounder lets you know about a lot of these guys in their communities. I don't trust Mayo men when it comes to scouting quarterbacks or any other position, but mostly the quarterback. We've seen Zach Wilson, we've seen Mitch Trubisky, Sam Darnold. They get overhyped. They weren't even hyped in college, but 1 month to 2 months prior to the draft, next thing you know, all these quarterbacks like Zach Wilson, they're being compared to Tom Brady and Joe Montana. Could it be said that they're only compared to these guys because their competitors happen to be black men?
From the eye in the sky, from my perspective, I'm just going to lay it out there. If I was to draft one of the two, I would go Jaxson Dart first. I think that he has a higher ceiling. I think that
Of course you think Jaxson Dart has a higher ceiling. In fact, I'm surprised you didn't say he has a higher IQ, because when it comes to Mayo men, it's always the IQ. But yet I've heard all these trash, garbage Mayo quarterbacks on their high IQ. They can process their information. They can go through their first reads. Meanwhile, Shedeur goes through his first reads and he throws the ball too fast. When he waits on his first reads and goes for the second or third, he holds the ball too long. What is it? They move the goalposts.
His game translates a little bit better to an NFL scheme.
He never explained why the game translates better to an NFL scheme. And I notice a lot of you Mayo pundits and you fake journalists. See, I'm proud that MSN Network called me a college insider, because I'm something Billy Badass out here. I don't just yap like these Mayo pundits do. I bring receipts. I bring facts. That's it. Nobody cares about me like that. You care about the facts that I present to the people. Nobody care about you Mayo guys, but they do. You guys don't show receipts. You don't show anything. You're just yapping at this point. Now, I yap sometimes, but once again, I bring the goddamn receipts. That's it. This guy says it translates better, but can you explain to us how Jaxson Dart translates better? They never can, guys.
Also think that he's more of the modern mold of a quarterback than what Shedeur is. However,
you think he's the modern mold just say because he's a white guy, beautiful hair, he got great eyes, he's tall as hell. So in other words, you Mayo guys love model quarterbacks. You don't care if the guy could play or not. You want to be able to sell the guy to your fan base. But the problem is you tried that with Mitch Trubisky and so many other Mayo quarterbacks, and they failed because the average NFL fan, he doesn't give a goddamn about what quarterback looks good or not. And that's the beautiful thing about fellow NFL guys out there. We don't care how beautiful a man looks like. Like, pause. We don't care about any of that. We care about, can he play football or not? I don't care if you're black, white, Spanish, Asian. Can you play the game of football? And majority of the time, these guys fall in love with models, IG quarterbacks, as if they're a female, which is a weird trait to have if you're a football fanatic.
I will say that their success is going to be heavily dependent on where they end up. If Shedeur Sanders goes to a team that has a bad roster, he's not going to have success. And there's not many quarterbacks, in my opinion, that can have success in bad situations.
So what about if Jaxson Dart goes to a bad team? How come this is never reserved for male quarterbacks? Benkert, whatever your name is, Benkert, Kurt, you're not the guy with the former gladiators riding the chariot. But anyways, that went over your head. Why you guys don't have this same narrative for Jaxson Dart? Jaxson Dart barely was a good quarterback in college. This is why he had to transfer out of USC to go to Ole Miss. He was not in a Shedeur position where Shedeur was only transferring to follow his father, just like a lot of male quarterbacks do when their dads become coach. We understand that. But how come you don't reserve the same narrative? Well, it matters where Jaxson Dart goes. So and you can plug Jaxson Dart anywhere and he'll be good. But we've seen proof that's not the case.
Unless you're a physical specimen. And that is why I'm going to give the edge early on to Jaxson Dart. He's a dual-threat quarterback, truly. He can make plays with his feet. He's a bigger guy.
So now we're crediting dual threat quarterbacks. When I've been growing up, even just last year, man, even yesterday, I got to hear male people tell me that dual threats quarterback are trash. They don't run good. They don't win Super Bowls, even though they do go to Super Bowls and win them, but they don't do anything. But all of a sudden, when it comes to Shedeur, dual threat, you guys, dual threat quarterbacks matters to you guys now? We know what games you're playing.
Can lower his shoulder. And I think he's going to be more prepped to play early in a situation that might not be ideal. However, if I'm looking across the league right now,
he said Jaxson Dart with no proof. Everything is his feelings. These male men only give you their opinions and feelings. They don't give you the conclusive evidence. They don't bring facts, just like I told you. It's always I feel. Well, you guys felt Zach Wilson was Tom Brady because you feel it. We don't give a goddamn about your feelings. What are the facts when it comes to football? Why we should draft this kid or not draft him? But it's more feelings. And can we trust you male men with your feelings when you know, we all know you go in favor of guys who look like you, guys who look like your father, brothers, families? Because you're proving my point here, Ben. Kurt, Ben, whatever your name is, you're proving my point again, guy. Why would he translate better than Shedeur? You still have not explained that.
There's a few key landing spots for these quarterbacks that I'm loving, and I think that they would have success in. I think the Saints are an interesting one. I don't love them as a success spot, but I do like them in terms of they probably need a quarterback. Their roster isn't terrible, and they're in cap hell right now. And with Derek Carr most likely being out for this season, it might be time to go get a rookie quarterback that's Dart. He'd be able to go control the clock. It's type of mold there. And I also think their defense is for real. So for Jaxson Dart, he'd be able to go control the clock, take care of the football, make his one-on-one throws. And just kind of game manage his way through it and probably rack up some wins. And then
I apologize to you guys. I was muted. I apologize for being muted. I was talking more in sense of how does this guy know Jaxson Dart game is going to translate to the NFL without even explaining to us. We've seen Lane Kiffin on the people he put around Jaxson Dart to help Jaxson Dart out. And Jaxson Dart still couldn't control the clock. And that was the SEC to give you a glimpse of how things will look in the NFL. well. Jaxson didn't do that well. His team performed well, but the quarterback play has put Ole Miss in a lot of problematic problems. But why does that get overlooked? Meanwhile, we're worrying about Shedeur patting the ball. But I know why we're doing all this, Ben.
Then my actual favorite landing spot out of all of this, I'm telling you today, I love the LA Rams to take Shedeur Sanders in the first round, potentially trade back and get him in the second if he falls that far. I would not love taking a first round shot on Shedeur Sanders, but I would love him in the second round.
You see how disrespectful that is? This Mayo man, Benkert, he didn't explain to you with actual proof or anything, but he's telling you, Shedeur, I wouldn't like taking him in the first round. Remember, this guy is the same guy who bigged up Zach Wilson. This guy right here, Benkert, he's the same guy that bigged up Mitch Trubisky. He's the same guy that bigged up Sam Darnold. I wonder why he bigs up trash quarterbacks. Meanwhile, guys like Shedeur, I wouldn't take them in the first round, maybe the second round, but yet we all know Jaxson Dart was predicted a third rounder, maybe a second rounder, but all of a sudden Mayo men are predicting him as a top 10 pick. Right? The fallacies that we get to look at in these guys, their reasonings is disturbing. Their reasonings is nothing but then race only, because if it's not race, support and substantiate your facts. That's what I do here. I bring up actual physical games with the actual receipts that was actually done during those games. All my videos does that. I don't come with my feelings, because the same thing I'm saying about Mayo men like Benkert, guys who are Mayo can say that about me. You're only defending Shedeur because he's black. And because I know that, I make sure to be fair. I make sure to be non-biased at all. That's why on this platform, I think I'm the only Colorado fanatic who has criticized Deion Sanders several times, who has criticized Travis Hunter, who has criticized Shedeur, and the fan base know I'm not lying, because when I favor Colorado, they love me. When I criticize Colorado, they hate me. I think it's fair to say DJ Blessed One is the most non-biased person out here when it comes to covering news. So when it's all said and done, guys like Benkert could never be taken serious, because when they're proven wrong about their choices and pick for these NFL drafts, they never come back and make a video and clear things up and say, I was wrong. That's why I'm going to go in on every single one of them. Mayos, if they're knee grumps, and if they're dirty desperados, I don't care what nationality, I go in on everybody who's full of crap. And Ben, you're full of crap, manure that is. All the way. I don't listen to you. This would probably be my last time ever listening to you, ever knowing about your existence, because one mayo on a sandwich is another mayo on a BLT. Hold the tomatoes. You get what I'm saying? Man, I'm DJ Blessed One, the best one. Never forget, these guys are the same guys who disrespect us openly and pretend that it's football knowledge. They're pretending that I'm this insider. You are not an insider. All your videos have no receipts. All your videos are opinionated, because when I just give my opinions, I make sure to let people know this is only opinions. But when it's videos of receipts, you will know they're receipts. I will tell you and show you proof. Prove your work. The scripture tells us precepts upon precepts. When you say something, from a verse, you get about 6 to 10 other verses to match up that one verse. So when you say something about said-so players like Shedeur, take another precepts, so-called receipt to match up on what you say. But they won't do that, because if it's Mayo, it's quite all right. And if it's black, it's whack. Educational purpose, ladies and gentlemen. I'm DJ Blessed One, the best one. Love your family, love your kids, and stay blessed.
Heart been broke so many times, I don't know what to believe. Mama say it's my fault, I